This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is certainly one of the most interesting smartphones of the year. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge. Basically, it's the Note 4, but with a curved display. It behaves like two different displays. One strip right here, and then the main display. We're going to look at it now. You don't see something like this every day, but this is actually a good thing. Now, there have been some kind of goofy things. There was the Samsung Galaxy Round, which was curved sort of, I don't know, like a banana peel for no real good reason. We don't really need phones that curve in that way. And then there was we had the LG phone that also curved kind of, along this axis. That did make it a little bit more comfortable and seem a little less big, but it still kind of felt like doing it for the sake of doing it, with LG and Samsung racing each other to come out with something that's curved first. This is the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, called that because, well, it's basically the Note 4, but it's got a display along the edge. Notice how it curves. It's like a waterfall. It's really very pretty looking and striking and different. And I think it makes the device look pretty neat. When we first covered both this and the Note 4's launch, that was back in September at IFA in Berlin and also in New York City, we attended the Samsung event there. This one was definitely the eye catcher. I think a lot of people said, wow, that's the one that I want. But then pricing information didn't come out. It was obvious this would cost more. You're getting a more advanced piece of hardware here, and availability didn't. So the Note 4 beat it by a whole month. And also this guy costs about $100 more. So there you have it. Now, Samsung also later said, after they teased us and everybody said, oh, I'm getting one of these, it's going to be a limited edition device in 2014. They're going to make about 1 million of these. And they won't be sold in all countries. Obviously, it's being sold in the US. That's where we're located. And who knows what they're going to do for 2015. If this does well, I wouldn't be surprised if they make more. I also expect that they probably have smaller profit margins on this because this has to cost more to make. Now, as you look at the side here, you see this got the same metal sides as the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. Really, it's metal, guys. I know some of you were thinking that wasn't the case. It is. It's cold like anything. But it's a slightly different design from the Note 4 because, well, we have the curve on the side here. So it's a teeny bit wider. We're talking tenths of an inch, and a little bit shorter, also about a tenth of an inch, and a teeny bit lighter too, like hundredths of an ounce lighter. So pretty much the same. The width doesn't make that much of a difference in hand. Of course, the feel of the device is going to be different because instead of holding onto two square edges, you've got one curved edge on this side and one straight edge here. Obviously, it's designed to nest in your left hand better for your right-handed people. However, I'm left-handed, and I find it's pretty handy to use it this way too, because my thumb is here to make use of the edge display. As you can see right here, there's a bunch of widgets going on here. You can make use of it. But one interesting thing is Samsung kind of thought of everything. This isn't just a slap together buggy product, and I half thought it might be, but they've really taken care of pretty much everything. First off, you said there's actual detection here, so it knows if you're touching the main screen, it knows to ignore the side screen temporarily. It's got palm rejection, so it can tell the difference between just the tip of your finger and the whole palm resting against it, so your palm won't accidentally do something. So it's not a disaster of things happening by accident. Anyway, there's a 180-degree mode that you can actually enable if you want, and that allows the screen to rotate. So for lefties like me, if we want to hold it in this hand with this edge against the palm of my hand, I can do that, and well, there it is. So that's kind of weird, right? The buttons are up top. I actually like the power button being at the bottom and the stylus being up top. No problems with that. They have a little drawer pull right here, so there's virtual buttons. So lefties, it's actually not so bad if you want to use it in your right hand. What's different about this than the Note 4? 200 milliamps less battery capacity. This is a 5.6-inch display. As far as I can tell, bringing out the ruler, that refers to the main display section only. The battery shape is the size, but it actually is physically a little bit shorter, so no, sorry, you can't swap the Note 4 battery into this guy. Otherwise, you're looking at the same thing as our Note 4. Right here, we've got the Note 4. You can see them together. They look awful darn similar. You've got the Snapdragon 805 quad-core 2.7 gigahertz CPU inside, which is currently, well, that's the fastest you can get in a phone. 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, micro SD card slot, removable battery. Same rear 16 megapixel camera, excellent camera that can shoot 4K video. Same front camera, same everything, same fingerprint scanner on the front. It's all the same, folks. So we're not going to go over every single feature here on the Note Edge, because just watch the Note 4 video review and read our written review. You can learn everything if you haven't already. We're just going to talk about the particular Edge features on this. So for those of you who are wondering, the same 2560 by 1440 main display right here, Super AMOLED, the same goodness you get on the Samsung Galaxy Note 4, and 160 pixel wide side strip right here, edge screen. That's 2560 by 160 pixels there. It is all one continuous piece of Gorilla Glass on the top, and it is a curved AMOLED display underneath. It's not two physical displays right here. And if you see it in person, you can tell that it's just a very gradual, graceful kind of curve here. So what do you do with this thing? Obviously, we have an application launcher right here. So this is kind of interesting. This is where Samsung realizes an idea they had long ago. You remember with the Note 4, you could press and hold the back button and you'd have the multitasking strip that would kind of cover your screen, or there'd be a little drawer pull you could have that also kind of covered your screen. This is the better way to do it. Obviously, it's not interfering with the main screen. What's on the main screen never bleeds over into the side screen. The side screen never intrudes into the main screen. Now, because of the reflection of light, you might sometimes think something is starting to curve over the edge. It really isn't. It's just kind of an optical illusion there. So what do you do with this thing? Why is it better? And I would say it really does make this a more enjoyable experience from the Note 4. Well, you get your icon launcher here. You can have two strips. The first one's customizable, so you can put whatever applications you want on that side strip. And then after that, you can download more widgets, by the way. You can have up to 7 of these side strips at once, and we've downloaded a couple of extras. There are even things like simple games, like something where you make burgers on order, one of those time management games. It's great if you're sitting at a meeting and you don't want somebody to see what you're really doing. Their phone's like this, and you're playing with the side. You can do it. There's Yahoo News, Sports, and stock tickers available too. You got the weather showing right here, and any notifications as well. So that's an interesting thing. If you tap on this, you can go to those notifications. You don't have to pull down the top drawer. If a call comes in, it doesn't matter what application is running right here, you'll actually get the notification right here, and you can answer the call using the side strip. No more call notification covers over whatever you're doing on screen. I know some of you consider what you're doing on screen at any given time more important than phone calls, so well, guess what? It won't annoy you as much. You got weather information here. Of course, this has the same health and activity trackers and monitors as the Note 4. So you have your pedometer, you have your heart rate, you have the blood oxygen sensor, and the UV meter. So if you wanted to remind you that you should be walking a bit more, well, here it is, and it can tell you how many calories you've consumed. Just like the Note 4, once an hour or so, it's going to tell you if you haven't moved at all, or the phone hasn't moved really, that you should get up and move around for your own health. Right here we have the S Note shortcuts right here, so you can launch S Note and you can launch a photo S Note and so on right there. Stock ticker, events, that's one that I downloaded. Now Samsung makes all of these. They've opened up the SDK so third parties can add their own. I hope that they do, and it would be neat to see even more applications supported. And we'll show you application support in a minute. But first, while we're looking here, if you swipe up, that's how you get to settings. So notice that there's a night clock mode. You can have it. It's nice. It's not too bright. Just the edge display is going to show you the time, and it's going to show you what the temperature is, and you can have that on for up to 12 hours a day. You can schedule it to come on. You can see I have the Rotate 180 feature enabled right there. Personal message controls what it says on the side when it's not saying anything else. I've set ours to say Mobile Tech Review. If your spouse likes a different brand phone, you can say something snide about that phone. You can do whatever you want. You can say, my kids are great. You know, you get the idea. Information stream is where you pick what information streams you want, basically from the news, sports, to stock tickers, and you can customize which teams you like, what stocks you're interested in. Manage panels. Right here you can pick from all the available panels, and then there's a link to download more. Pretty easy peasy. If you see a little pencil symbol down there, it means you can customize that particular one. There's also a speed dial one, which some folks will find handy. So there's enough to do here that I think it makes it more useful, more easy to use, more fun. It's also more attractive. So how about if you're in an application? Now, a lot of applications don't make any particular use of this, at least at this point, but let's take a look at the camera. So here the controls aren't in the way of my beautiful picture of the Galaxy Note 4 right there. Shutter button, video, switching modes. And if you do modes, of course, the picker is going to come up on the bottom screen. And we'll just go back to auto mode right there. So all pretty easy to do if you bring up settings. Similar to how any Samsung phone works, then those things will pop up on the main display. There's only so much room you can use for the top. There's the speaker, it's quite loud. So you can see the controls are up here. Fast forward, rewind, the scrubber is right up there as well. Now it disappears just like it does on the video player. So all your controls are up top so they're not on screen blocking your view. Again, nice use. It's not earth-shattering, but it's a very clever and actual functional use for the curved display. Now here, if you're in Chrome or if you're in the WebKit web browser, it's not going to do anything with the top display. It's very faint, you can barely see it, but I have it set to say Mobile Tech Review, so it's just going to say that. Now if notifications come in, they are going to pop up there, which is kind of darn handy. And like I said, if a call comes in or something, you can actually use the edge display to, well, answer the call or reject the call. And again, third-party developers, if they see fit, they can actually make use of the side display. If you're in S-Note, for example, all of the menu buttons, commands, and things like that line the left side, so they're not cluttering up your screen. There's one more thing. There is a kind of master bar of tools right here. So we have a stopwatch, we have a timer, we have flashlight control, and we have voice recorder, and we have the ruler, which is kind of clever. If you're Joe or Jane handyman, you actually probably will find that useful. So you got a 4-inch ruler on the side. It's clever. If you're a handy person, you're going to find it useful. Otherwise not, but there it is. I think the other shortcuts, though, are pretty darn handy. A lot of people do use that flashlight and the voice recording feature, not to mention timers. So all along the sides we have metal here, and the metal sticks up just a little bit beyond the display. So the idea is if you drop it on its face first, hopefully it's going to hit the metal. Samsung designed it with the metal edge all around to protect the display, and in fact it even exceeds a little bit over here. Now it's an expensive piece of kit. I wouldn't want to drop it, but it's nice to know that they at least designed it to kind of, well, deal with impact. Back comes off just like you would expect for any Samsung phone. It's available, by the way, in the usual white or black, and this is Samsung's typical skinny plastic faux leather back on here. And on the inside, there's our micro SD card slot. There's the battery, 3,000 milliamps right there. Obviously the camera, the flash, and the sensor for your heart rate and so on. And the speaker is down there. Comes with a quick charger in the box, so you can charge 30 to 50% of the battery in just a half an hour, which is pretty nice. So how is battery life on this guy? It's about a half an hour less of actual screen on time than the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. Now the Note 4 is a real Energizer bunny. Wasn't quite as great as we had hoped compared to some previous generation Notes, but still it's easily an all-day phone. It's pretty darn hard to kill. With moderate use, probably most of you go a day and a half, maybe even 2 days with moderate to light use. So this guy, about half an hour less, that's not the end of the world, kind of, in terms of run times. Samsung claims about the same battery life, but obviously 200 milliamps less, and here is 200 milliamps less. Has the same S Pen, exactly the same as is in the Note 4, so this you can use for note-taking, for drawing. The display has pressure sensitivity, 2048 levels, palm rejection, and it is Wacom technology inside. So everything that the Note can do, this guy can do. And by the way, there's just all sorts of little neat things here. So if the display is asleep and you swipe like that, you can just wake up the side display, and you can flip through all of this stuff too without using the main display. Battery saver, a quick, easy way of checking on things. There's just all sorts of well thought out things here. And that brings up the idea of, well, is this an innovative product? I'd say yes, it is. Is it a purposeful product? Definitely it is. This adds usability right here. It's not just fun, it's not just pretty, but it actually changes the way we use the device quite a bit in terms of not having to turn on the main display, in terms of not having to clutter up your screens with stuff. I mean, I have the application launcher here. I don't need to have a whole bunch of things on my home screen anymore. It functions as the menu strip for applications. Who knows what else folks will think of it. I mean, Samsung's already put little games here on the edge. So it's good looking. It is definitely innovative and purposeful, and I have to give Samsung credit. Folks have picked on them for, well, possibly copying Apple. We know about those lawsuits, and here they've done something unique, original, and also very functional. So good going, Samsung. So is it worth the $100 or so premium over the Samsung Galaxy Note 4? Now let's just talk about pricing a little bit. On contract, $299 for the Note 4 with most carriers. That is, if they offer contracts. T-Mobile does not have contracts anymore. $399. That's pretty darn expensive. Well, it's also the same price as the iPhone 6 Plus, 64 gig. So it's not an unheard of price, but It's getting up there. So for those of you who are shopping on contract or on tight budgets, it might not be worth it to spend $100 for these features if you really don't have much money to spend. That is up to you. But for those of you who are buying it on monthly payment plans, well, it's about $5 a month difference. If you like these features and find them usable, you think the device is more attractive, I'd kind of do, it's worth $5 a month more. If you're going full retail, this guy, again, it depends on which carrier you're talking about. Pricing ranges from around $840, Sprint's on the lower end there, up to a crazy around $950 on AT&T. They tend to charge more at full retail. You're looking at about a 13% price difference, and I suspect that most people who are buying the Note 4 full retail, boy, they have the money to spend already, obviously. So if you're going to be spending $750, going to $850 isn't that much of a difference. So again, personally, I think a lot of people are going to end up buying this guy here just because it is pretty darn neat looking. It has more functionality, and you're already so far invested in the phone at this point that, well, for that $100, you get something that's different, new, and actually quite usable too. So that's the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge. It's available now on all carriers but Verizon. It should be coming to Verizon soon. And as you've gathered, I think it is worth the $100 premium. That is, if you can afford it. If you're buying on contract, it's, getting really expensive, getting up there. But if you're doing it on payment plans or you're already spending a boatload of cash just to buy a full retail, go for the big bang here. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full written review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.